Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe21 Love. Here with your AEW Dynamite review for April 13th, 2022. Great show was Dynamite. The ending was underwhelming. After the great match between Samoa Joe and Minoru Suzuki for the ROH TV title to close the show. But thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast and you want to see more pro wrestling reviews on the channel, you can find those. Click that subscription. Cover both AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage reviews, as well as the AEW pay-per-views. I will do a review of Battle of the Belts, which take place Saturday. I'll review that as well. But Dynamite was great. Was great. You know, ReDRagon versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, which I still call Jurassic Express, just cause. CM Punk versus Penta, you know, solid match. Wardlow still causing chaos for MJF, just hilarious, you know, and got a lot to go over as far as the Owen Hart Cup side for both the men and the women when it comes to the next few weeks. But yeah, we'll go over all that in a bit. The Marina Shafir match with Sky Blue, along with the ending, I mean, will definitely take away from this low-end episode of Dynamite, but, you know, we'll see how it progresses, but I don't want to take away that this Dynamite was very, very good. Very, very good. It's just those two segments made Dynamite, you know, it just took away from what the lesser should have been. But get into the review now, shall we? Let's dive into it. And we'll get to the sourness of the show when it comes. But for starters, we had CM Punk versus Penta Oscuro. This was a solid match to open the show. However, had a little bit of a scare. So, the way it started, pre-match antics, CM Punk chants, Zero Miedo chants for Penta, back and forth, was a little funny to start, but turned out pretty much as a hockey fight to start, punches back and forth. Eventually they got into it, and then before the break, Punk hit Suicide on the outside. Looked like he may have tweaked his knee, but he was favoring it, but the match carried on. So, what really took a turn was they were exchanging on the top rope, and It looked like Punk was going for a springboard Hurricanrana off the top rope, but they both collapsed towards the mat, and Punk was very much favoring his knee. So you hope it's just selling. I mean, he continued on well with the match, but you gotta believe there's probably something there. So Punk's knee was hurt, and then we saw in the opposite corner, Punk hit Hurricanrana off the top rope to Penta. So I mean, it's gotta be at least feeling good enough. But good stuff there. So Penta tried multiple times for his arm snap finisher, but Punk countered into a cradle for a near fall. Punk hit a roundhouse kick, fall with GTS, but Penta caught it. They had an exchange of pins, and then it looked. Penta went for a springboard, but was caught by Punk in midair. Hit the go to sleep 1, 2, 3, and CM Punk gets the victory over Penta Oscuro. CM Punk, you know, he's gonna be feeling worse for wear, but provided nothing serious, I think we can tell with the Hangman Page Adam Cole match on Friday's Rampage, where CM Punk's interest lies as far as the AEW World Title and perhaps Double or Nothing. But a solid match to open the show. We know how good both are. You know, Punk called out anybody, pretty much called out multiple people on social media saying he wants to wrestle in New Orleans. Penta answered the call, and it was a solid effort. So, Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society had a private plane flew in, and Jake Hager, Chris Jericho, and Daniel Garcia, they all came out, and they looked off into the abyss, the opposite direction, and it was A. Kingston, Santana, Ortiz in an SUV, telling them to get ready for the match later, as they mugged and robbed Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, aka 2.0. They stole Angelo Parker's shoes. So he was barefoot, and Menard was holding his thumb, it appeared. I mean, a little preview of what A. Kingston will provide you. So, then we got one hell of a tag team match. ReDRagon versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, Jurassic Express, although they're not called that anymore. But for the tag team titles, one heck of a match. We know how good ReDRagon are, And what happened after the match is a pretty telling tale of, you know, FTR, where their sights are set. But, so, Jungle Boy was like a house on fire. He hit two Suicidas on the outside. But ReDRagon got out of dodge, only for Luchasaurus to hit moonsault to the outside. Back in the ring, Kyle landed a dragon screw on the ropes while Bobby Fish wrenched the arm of Jungle Boy on the apron. So go figure, the part of the match, Jungle Boy was beaten up. Then the hot tag to Luchasaurus, hit double clotheslines, hit a double moonsault, or double choke slam rather, then a standing moonsault for a near fall. Good tandem offense by, I'm just going to call him Jurassic Express. His side slam elbow drop for a 2 count, while ReDRagon fired back hit butterfly DT German suplex combination for 2. Great spot of the match. So, Kyle O'Reilly had Luchasaurus in the corner in a standing guillotine choke. Bobby Fish and Jungle Boy, they're on the top rope. So you can kind of picture with the positioning, like, how is it actually going to happen? But Bobby Fish landed a perfect avalanche falcon arrow off the top rope over both Luchasaurus and Kyle O'Reilly for a near fall, as Luchasaurus used Kyle to break the pin attempt. Solid stuff there. So, finish match came. They were all exchanging in the middle of the ring. Jungle Boy jumped off Luchasaurus' back, hit a tornado DT on Kyle that took him out for this match. And Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus hit the Thoracic Express on, Fish for the win. They retain their tag titles. After the match, Kyle O'Reilly, and great sportsmanship, he attacked both Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus with a chair, kind of interrupting the post-match celebration. And he and Fish, dejected, were walking up towards the ramp. All of a sudden, we hear FTR's theme music play. And they have a bit of a confrontation with O'Reilly and Fish. And, FTR is very much over. Very much over. They're the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, the AAA Tag Team Champions, beat the Briscoes and the Young Bucks in the span of 1 week. Now it seems possibly, and no matter where their sites are, it's going to be good at either door. Whether it's they go for all the gold and because the only titles they really don't have are the AEW World Tag Team titles. So I mean, they could very well eye Jungle Boy or Luchasaurus, or they could feud with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, and O'Reilly and Fish, former tag team champions, and many parts of the world, including NXT. O'Reilly, a former Ring of Honor world champion. No matter where their sights are set, it's going to be fun. It's going to be very interesting for FTR. So then we got the Blackpool Combat Club backstage with Wheeler Yuta. Yes, Wheeler Yuta is now a member of the Blackpool Combat Club. He was there with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson and William Regal. It was announced for Rampage Friday. It'll be the Blackpool Combat Club. Danielson, Moxley, and Yuta versus the Gun Club. Billy Gunn, Austin, and Colton. Good start, I think, for Yuta, Moxley, and Danielson. And, the Gun Club, Austin and Colton are getting better and better. So I think this should be a nice trios match for Rampage. What was also nice, I bet to many, was Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm. They were backstage, and it's been signed. In the first round of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, for the women, Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter. It will happen. No comment. But I can tell for many, it's going to be something. I mean, we know Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter are two of the best women in the world as far women's wrestlers in the world, and should be a good match. However, again, no comment. But I kind of feel bad because, Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm are both great, and, this match really should be given more of a platform, as in more of a story, and you're kind of hoping it happened later in the tournament, but I guess for them they didn't want to make it too predictable in a way, but either way, it should be an interesting match to kick off the Owen Hart Cup tournament. MJF versus Shawn Dean. This wasn't really a match. This was just great stuff. So, we know the story between MJF and Wardlow. Last week, Wardlow cost Shawn Spears a match with Shawn Dean. This week, Wardlow cost MJF the match with Shawn Dean. So, to start, MJF was having trouble. He, quote unquote, with his zipper to his jacket. Apparently, it was hooked onto his scarf. So, he was having trouble with it. And then, when Shawn Dean had his back turned, MJF pounced for the attack, laid some boots to him, was celebrating. As we can also tell, the signs are getting bigger. The Wardlow is banned signs are getting bigger around ringside. So as MJF was showboating of some offense on Shawn Dean, we cut to the back and 3 more security guards are laid out in the back. And it kind of made sense because at first we didn't realize, but one of them didn't have a shirt. So you could kind of have a thought in the back of our mind that Wardlow would be dressed as a security guard. So, MJF was fighting on the outside, again showboating, near the guardrail. And then we see this mass security guard walk to the guardrail, and then all of a sudden he unmasks, and then it appears to be Wardlow, or it is Wardlow. Gets a big reaction. At first, MJF did not know, he thought it was heat, but then he realized and he turned around. And there was Wardlow. So MJF runs like a scalded dog, and security guards had no avail. First couple, and then all of a sudden, a boatload of security guards restrained Wardlow. And then all of a sudden, because MJF's up the stage and Shawn Dean's in the ring, Bryce Remsburg is counting to 10. And we don't usually see disqualifications and countouts in AEW. So, Bryce Remsburg had counted up to 9. And then MJF got a microphone. And then he said, well, whoa, Bryce. I don't know what Tony Khan is paying you, but I'll triple it if you don't count to 10. So Bryce Remsburg hesitated for a moment. He was like, he thought about it. And then, just like that, he counted to 10. So, fight stuff there. And Shawn Dean, the captain, has 2 victories over MJF in 2022. First, a DQ victory, courtesy of CM Punk. Now, a countout victory, thanks to Wardlow. I mean, look, this feud between MJF and Wardlow is just. How can you not like how it's building for both sides? Yes, MJF lost, but MJF is still up there as arguably the best heel in the business. Wardlow is just getting more over and over week to week. And when the time comes, he's going to be world champion, and he's going to be probably the biggest babyface in AEW. So afterwards, Wardlow broke free of the security guards, threw one into one of the walls, and then he grabbed the cameraman and said at the camera, "MJF, I'm not finished. I will not stop until I get my hands on you and you release me of my contract." And MJF in the ring had a very worried look on his face. So, I mean, we're going to get a match out of these two, and I almost feel bad for who loses because one of them is going to have to lose. And, but I mean, this match, when it happens, is going to be something to see. It's going to be something to see. So we got Darby Allin. He had a nice video pack. Darby always has these mystic, dark, great video packages. He was just out skating somewhere, on a hill, somewhere in the streets. And then all of a sudden he was just filmed with a prototype of a coffin. So he simply said, "Andrade, I'm gonna put a nail in this, or a coffin match." So next week on Dynamite, coffin match, the second ever coffin match between Darby and Andrade. Should be fun. The first coffin match between Darby and Ethan Page was great. So I can only imagine this is going to be much better. So we'll see. Andrade needs to break away. Perhaps this is a good thing. Perhaps by Darby winning this, perhaps it's a way to write off Andrade for a couple weeks. He can disband from the family office and all sides can just go their separate ways. Just go and, yeah, be good for both sides or all sides. So then we got the Jericho Appreciation Society. Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, and Daniel Garcia. First, Eddie Kingston, Santana, Ortiz. This was not a great match, but, Because, well, the thing is, we've seen Kingston and Santana Ortiz feud a lot with Daniel Garcia, but with it being Hager and Jericho, made kind of a refresher. Although the Inner Circle, we've seen a few matches among themselves. Match wasn't special, but did well. So a brawl ensued on the outside, and Hager and Garcia, they were beating down on Ortiz, but all of a sudden Kingston got the big tag, ran rough shot on Garcia and others. Machine gun chops, tagged into, Santana. Three Amigos, Salute Guerrero, Frog Splash by Santana for a near fall. Suicida hit by Kingston to the outside. Ortiz hit a nice tope, taking out 2.0. And it seemed like Kingston had the advantage, about to win over Garcia, but he went up against the ropes. And then from behind, Chris Jericho with the bat, aka Floyd, knocks down Kingston. Garcia falls up for the win, and Jericho Appreciation Society get the victory and the post-match beatdown on Kingston Santana Ortiz. There's that. Now there isn't much, although the feud, I'm kind of curious where it goes from here, because these guys have relatively mixed up with each other for pretty much months. And, Santana Ortiz, they kind of need to be in the tag team title picture. So, I'm kind of really curious to see where both sides go from here. So then we got MJF, Mark Sterling, and Sean Spears backstage. Alex Marvez, he was chuckling over another upset win as MJF lost to Shawn Dean. So things have took a turn. So Mark Sterling read some of the conditions on Wardlow's contract, saying that MJF has the right to book Wardlow in matches against whomever, wherever. So, turns out MJF is no longer going to pay Wardlow to just sit home. He's had enough. So, MJF said that he found someone to be able to slaughter the piggy that is Wardlow. And then he read Butcher. So next week on Dynamite, it's going to be Wardlow versus the Butcher. Going to be an interesting big man matchup because we know Butcher can work. It's going to be an interesting big man affair. So, what was supposed to be, I'm sure, a highlight matchup was not. It felt underwhelming. Marina Shafir. Now, Marina Shafir, of course, we've seen one of the four horsewomen from MMA, friends with Ronda Rousey, formerly of NXT, wife of Roderick Strong. You know, she was in NXT, but she wasn't very good as a wrestler. So here she's in AEW, and it has appeared over the last number of weeks. They're building her up for a match versus Jade Cargill. And she's been shown extensively on Dark, AEW Dark. She went up against Sky Blue here, and my expectations were low. Now, people love Sky Blue. You know, Sky Blue, I was actually more hoping for her simply because Sky Blue, you know, people love to see her. We know why. But you also want to look for the improvement. And she has shown improvement against better competition. Against Marina Shafir, kind of fell flat. Now, I get it for Blue Side because, you know, she was put in this position simply because to put over Shafir, and Sky Blue is not at that level. She's not there like she can carry a match. She's improving slightly, but she's not there. And they're building Murray Shafir up. This wasn't much. She did a pump handle slam, throw. You know, I like her music. I like her look, but I'm not getting it. The crowd didn't gravitate toward the match. Jade Cargill's baddie section was once again there. The highlight really of the match was Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan were in the baddie section for Jade Cargill. So it appears that Red Velvet is really going a heel route. And we'll see because, you know, again, she was just a face. And, you know, with Layla Hirsch getting injured, perhaps now we'll see. But the crowd didn't like it. The baddies obviously didn't like it because they're pro Jade Cargill. Shafir won with a triangle choke. You know, not much. And Shafir wins. I mean, this match, I don't have much expectations for again because Jade Cargill, we know is getting better. We know is getting better as well. Her promo ability is getting there. This title run has been kind of underwhelming, but she has gotten better. And both these ladies are not gonna carry a match, and they're kind of similar styles, so I'm kind of worried for this matchup. I'm kind of worried. So then we know from bad to good really quick. So we got Team Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks, who had a great ovation here in New Orleans, because that's hometown, apparently. And, apparently New Orleans has been delayed many months for AEW. Now it's here, and you can tell Ricky Starks, he was emotional, very emotional. But for this match against Keith Lee and Swerve, this was fun. This was a fun matchup for all sides. I tell you, the athleticism of Keith Lee, you know, Vader went into for those who followed the WWE Hall of Fame, you'll know that Vader was great and what he could do as a very big guy that could move the way he could off, during doing different dives, Vader bomb, you know, the way he could move for a 400-pound guy. Keith Lee, 350. He's not as big as Vader, but I mean, how athletic he is, and it is something to behold, as something to remind you of. But some of the moves in this match, Lee and Starks were in the corner, and Hobbs was going for a spear, but Keith Lee leapfrogged Hobbs, and Hobbs is no slouch. We know that he's like 250, 270. Leapfrogged Hobbs, and he speared Starks in the corner. He actually hurled or threw Starks on the Hobbs in the corner. Double team by Lee and Swerve for a near fall. Starks, he actually caught Swerve. It looked like Swerve's going for a leaping flatliner, but Starks caught him in midair for a spear. And then hit like a rolling DT. At first, I thought he hit a destroyer, but Starks hit a leaping DT for a near fall. And then another great spot. So Swerve had Starks in a fireman's carry position. And Lee was the legal guy. And so, in one fluid motion, while Starks was in midair, Lee pounced. Well, it was a fireman's carry into a pounce by Keith Lee. Good move there for near fall. Starks then hit another spear on to Keith Lee off the middle rope. Looked like he was going for a pin, I'm not sure, but Swerve, he hit a 450 onto the back. Starks broke that up. Now came Taz. Come down to support his boys. So Taz was at ringside. And it looked like Keith Lee was going for his finisher on Hobbs. But Keith Lee was set off the ropes. Taz grabbed the leg of Keith Lee just for a moment, distracting him. And then Hobbs hit his big spine buster on Keith Lee. 1, 2, 3. And Hobbs and Starks get the victory in front of Starks' hometown in New Orleans. Good stuff there. Good tag team match for all four men. Good stuff there. I tell you, I almost got emotional seeing Ricky Starks get emotional. There's something there. So, but I mean, Hobbs arguably has the best slime buster in pro wrestling today. Both guys are getting better, and it's difficult because Lee and Swerve are both still very new in AEW. But, there's a learning curve. There's a waiting line. So, but I'm sure. And they lose this match clean. So, I think given time and the right role, they're going to be where they need to be. Bunch of stuff to go over for Rampage, Battle of the Belts, and Dynamite next week. A lot of stuff to go over for the lineups. So, Rampage Friday. So we got the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Gun Club. Ruby Riott. Glad to see Ruby Riott back on TV. First, Robin Renegade, who I've heard great stuff from about an Owen Hart Cup qualifier match for the women Friday on Rampage, along with the AEW World Title match. Texas Death Match should be fun on Friday. On Saturdays, Battle of the Belts. So we got Thunder Rosa versus Nyla Rose. We got Sammy Guevara, as I expected, will face Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship. And this was kind of a juggernaut thrown in there. Jonathan Gresham, the undisputed Ring of Honor World Champion, after being Bandito at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, will face Dalton Castle for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Now, this isn't the, I guess, biggest match they could have made for the Ring of Honor title. I'm sure there's some for Battle of the Belts, but I mean, still, it is something for Jonathan Gresham and, Battle of the Belts being on AEW. And, Don Castle, I'm a fan of. You know, I'm sure people think gimmicky can be like, but he can go in the ring. And against Jonathan Gresham, should be a good match. Wednesday's Dynamite next week. Wardlow vs. The Butcher. Britt Baker makes her return after losing her AEW Women's World Championship to Thunder Rosa in that bloody steel cage match at St. Patty's Day Slam. She'll go one-on-one with Danielle Kamea in an Owen Hart Cup qualifier match. Hook. He's graduating to Dynamite. He'll make his AEW Dynamite debut next week. Jungle Boy versus Kyle O'Reilly in a Owen Hart Cup qualifier for the men. So we got two more Owen Hart Cup qualifier matches. And then Darby Allin versus Andrade El Idolo in a coffin match. AEW Dynamite's going to have a heck of a lineup for next week. By the way, speaking of Hook, he did have a segment with Danhausen, which I thought was kind of funny, but I think some people, well, it depends who you are, probably think the comedy of Danhausen might be wearing a bit thin, but we'll see. We'll see. Main event. This was great. Samoa Joe versus Minoru Suzuki. Samoa Joe, this is only his second match in AEW. And yet, boy, did he earn it against the 50-year-old Minoru Suzuki, who is so... Geez, he has a certain pain tolerance about him, and, he's a legend for a reason. I watched this match, and I was almost cringing the whole time, because this was pretty much just 5 to 7 good minutes of both guys chopping each other and both guys' chests just getting very much red. They were just chopping back and forth. Great to hear Minoru Suzuki's music again. Great to see him in AEW. Oh man, I tell you, both guys' chests were so red after this match. I was like, man, what a toll to pay for the Ring of Honor television title. But I mean, Not much to say other than both guys' chests were as red as the shirt I am wearing right now. That's how good, or that's how violent this match was. I mean, Suzuki, he loves pain. He certainly loves pain. I mean, Joe is a violent Samoan, and getting a slap bout or chop fest with him is no joke. No joke. That was just entertaining. So eventually they had to go away from chops, and Suzuki came off the ropes. He was knocked down. He did try for a triangle on the Joe in the ropes. And once again, they tried chopping each other on the outside. Just geez. As you expect a Minoru Suzuki match to go. Suzuki got a big boot. He landed a soccer ball kick for a near fall. Simple there. More chops, more forearms, just back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, Suzuki was propped up on the top rope. Joe hit an enziguri. Suzuki tried to lock on a triangle choke on the top rope again, but to no avail. Joe then finally hit the muscle buster on Suzuki. 1, 2, 3, and Samoa Joe is now the Ring of Honor television champion. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't long. It wasn't a great wrestling match, but it was definitely a fight. Definitely a fight. That's what you can appreciate about a Minoru Suzuki match. It is just a great fight to see. And boy, both guys are gonna be filming that tomorrow morning. I mean, Suzuki just won the television title. And yes, it's his first American title, but I mean, it's an American title. And, he's with New Japan, Ring of Honor. Joe can definitely do wonders with that Ring of Honor television title. So, this is when the bad ending started. Well, it didn't really start here, but you get to where I'm going. So, Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt. Now, I will say about the match between Suzuki and Joe, I will say it did feel a bit rushed. Probably like 5, 10 more minutes. They could have shaved off the Marina Shafir match and gave this match a bit more time, but oh well. Anyway, so Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt, they were in the audience watching the match. Then they were out. They congratulated Samoa Joe on his victory and wanted to give him his present. So then that they say I'll never forget. So then Jay Lethal, then they're opening the present. Turned out to be a bottomless box, and Lethal flipped off his former mentor, Samoa Joe. Then the lights went out, and some big native quote former basketball player, they said, Sadim Singh, that apparently has been training with Sanjay Dutt, attacked Samoa Joe from behind, and it was a 3-on-1 beatdown. You know, the crowd did not love it one bit. You know, they were crapping all over this, as you expect. But lethal and lethal injection, I mean, you know, we've seen from these giants that in WWE that they aren't the best pro wrestlers. Now, I'll give it, you know, Tony Khan, more times than not, one of the reasons I love AEW, more times than not, he'll deliver. So, I mean, I will say that in Tony Khan's hands, he can probably do right with this, but we'll have to, I mean, it's not looking good so far. And you feel bad because Jay Lethal, you know, has not been given great direction since coming to AEW. I'm sure, and many fans have been clamoring for him to get more TV time. Him and this pairing, it seems, with Sanjay Dutt and this guy, may not work for Jay Lethal. But, I mean, Tony Khan, more times than not, he'll do us right. So, I mean, we'll see. But not a great ending to a great Dynamite, which is a shame, but Dynamite was great overall. But the Maria Shafir match, now Rose thing with Thunder Rosa, which I don't want to talk about because it's only like very short. There's that, and the ending was not good. But I mean, Suzuki for show, Punk for Oscuro, the tag team title match, all great, all great. So, but nonetheless, we got a loaded Rampage and intriguing. I would say not great, but intriguing Battle of the Belts coming up. So some good events still lined up for later this week, and which I'll go over along with Dynamite next week. But thank you all for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed Dynamite as well as the review. But thank you all. Be safe. I'm Rachel to love. Getting out of here. See you Saturday. Adios. Peace.